also on the WVLT page. So just wanted to give you a heads up on kind of what is coming our way. Let's take a look and show you what's going on out there right now. And as we take a look at that radar, you can see the live radar image right now is showing still a couple of lingering showers and storms just to the west of Knoxville. Those quickly dying out. They popped up over Farragut and over really in between Lunar City and Oak Ridge, but that little cluster is dying out just as fast as it erupted. We have another cluster south of Crossville. I think those are going to die out as well. We had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings tonight over portions of Monroe County, but now that cluster has since died. So everything should begin to weaken tonight. You can see Futurecast. Watch what it does. Completely evaporates those storms. They're just gone. So we will not deal with those anymore tonight here in East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky. And as we go toward the morning hours, I stopped it at 2 to 3 a.m. because I wanted to show you there's not only no rain on the radar, but it looks like we are cloud free at that time. That's important because not only here, but across much of the region, a lot of folks will be looking out for the total lunar eclipse. Of course, that is when the moon passes in the Earth's shadow, and it's going to have that kind of red hue tonight. Again, this peaks later on in the morning hours when a lot of folks are sleeping. Now, here in Knoxville and across East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky, the partial eclipse begins at about 1:09 a.m. Again, it's going to vary by your location. So if you're watching this from North Alabama or West Tennessee or Northeast Arkansas or parts of Kentucky, it may vary just a little bit those times, especially when you go into a central time zone. But either way, here in East Tennessee, around 2:26 a.m., the total eclipse begins. It's going to peak just before 3 a.m. So that's when it's going to be at its maximum lunar eclipse level, and then it's going to start to fade out as we go through the morning hours well before sunrise. So if you want to step outside tonight, I will be doing that. You can share any of your photos with me on social media. I'll have the links for that in just a minute. But again, it's going to be something cool to watch, and hopefully we can get those clouds to dissipate in most areas tonight. Again, some areas may still be dealing with those clouds, especially as you go into say parts of North Alabama and parts of North Mississippi. But here's a look at Futurecast. I want to show you kind of the timing for storms first here in East Tennessee, and then we're going to look at the bigger system itself. And you can see on Saturday morning, I think Friday here is pretty dry in East Tennessee. We're going to see those storms, though, kind of develop and push in from Middle Tennessee as we go through Saturday morning. And that cluster of storms is going to contain heavy wind, heavy rain, gusty wind, and lightning. So be prepared for a noisy morning or early afternoon here in East Tennessee. And right now, the latest data actually doesn't give us much of a break. In fact, it could continue off and on through the day on Saturday. So be aware of that we are going to deal with possible storms. And there could be some severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm not terribly concerned about the tornado threat with this batch. This is kind of round number one for us, and then we'll have to deal with round number two. Now let's take a look at the bigger view. I want to show you what's causing all this. It's a low pressure system, very strong, tracking across the central plains. It's going to have at least medium levels of storm energy, and by that I mean when you combine the instability and the wind shear. Now the actual unstable air, that part of the system is going to be much higher as you go south and west of East Tennessee. So as we go into Friday, this is kind of what it looks like. Especially south of Memphis will be the most unstable air. North of Memphis is where you'll see the most shear, and that is on Friday. So Friday, again, if you're traveling west, Nashville to Memphis, that's where by Friday evening, Friday night, we could see some pretty intense storms. Now, it's not going to be a widespread cluster per se in some of those areas, but some of that unstable air and some of that really intense energy makes its way all the way up to Memphis by Saturday morning. But notice it kind of really ramps down as we go into Saturday evening. So here in Knoxville and East Tennessee, I don't think we're going to see as much storm energy as a whole. It's going to be more of the wind energy with this system that's the biggest problem. So the severe risk on Friday, this is Friday, again, mostly to the west of Knoxville. We're talking Middle Tennessee back into Memphis for Friday evening and Friday night. And again, even much of the day Friday could be dry in many of these areas. It's what we call a conditional risk. North of Memphis, they're going to see possibly an isolated tornado threat, but it's not going to storm everywhere. Then on Saturday, it's going to push south and east. This is where it becomes more widespread, and the tornado risk, it seems a little higher for parts of central Alabama, central Mississippi. We have more of a wind risk here in East Tennessee as we go into Saturday and Saturday night, and that's why we're level 2 or 3 out of 5, whereas places like Birmingham, Huntsville, Jackson, Mississippi are all in that 4 out of 5 category, so that's a moderate risk for tornadoes. Again, there could be some substantial long track tornadoes in some of those areas to our southwest, but here in East Tennessee, I think it's going to be more of a wind event as those storms roll on through. So this is Futurecast. Again, starting Saturday morning, it shows some scattered storms, and I've got 2 different versions of this Futurecast model. You can see by Saturday afternoon, the cluster on this model really ramps up, and we'll see off and on storms as we go through the period, and those will continue into Saturday night. That's the main line coming out of Middle Tennessee Saturday night around 8 o'clock. So it will be heading toward Knoxville and parts of southeast Kentucky. Now, this is the broader view. If you're traveling, if you live elsewhere besides East Tennessee and southeast Kentucky, here's what we're looking at. This is the main part of the storm system. Notice how it's not as widespread on Friday night. This is 10 p.m. Friday night, showing the storms from Missouri all the way down into portions of North Mississippi, but there's some breaks in it, so it may not storm in all those locations. But as it gets into Saturday morning, it really starts to come together over Middle Tennessee, North Alabama, and Central Mississippi, and that's where we could see not only flooding, but that tornado threat in some of those areas as we go through the middle of the day Saturday. Then by Saturday night, by 7 p.m., heaviest rain from Nashville to Huntsville pushes east and pushes in toward East Tennessee. But again, we could have off and on storms all day here in East Tennessee, or off as we go through, especially the afternoon and evening. But the main line actually comes through after midnight on Saturday night and pushes on through and is out of here by late Sunday morning. So we'll get rid of these storms for the last half of the weekend, but the first half we're going to have to deal with those storms. So what's the severe risk here in East Tennessee? Mainly high wind. Again, flooding is a possibility, especially if we see that round linger during the day on Saturday. Overall, the tornado risk is low here, and so is the hail risk, but it's not zero, so it's something we'll keep an eye on. I don't think the dew points get quite as high here as they do, say, back toward West Tennessee and North Mississippi. I think our dew points probably stay in the upper 50s to near 60, but it may be just close enough that we still could see a spin up or two with that line. Now, the gusts, the wind is going to be a big factor for us. In fact, I think we may have some higher winds here than for our friends back to the west. We're talking wind gusts of 40 to 50, maybe 60 miles per hour as that line comes through anytime during the day, Saturday or Saturday night. So you want to make sure that you have all your loose outdoor items tied down and make sure the garbage can is secure, and just wait it out, because it's going to be a very windy day across much of the region. We're going to pick up at least an inch or two of rain, maybe more. There could be some areas that pick up 2 to 3 inches of rain, so that's something we'll be watching as well. So you can always check in on the WVLT First Alert weather app. We'll be sending plenty of updates throughout the weekend. Ben and Kyle will be in covering this. I'll be in if we have watches or warnings, and we'll keep you updated on the latest with this storm system as it moves through East Tennessee and Southeast Kentucky. So be sure and check the weather app. If you don't have it, it's a free download. Great tool to have. You can go on all of our digital platforms as well. We're on Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV. You can access us anywhere, especially on the web, on the WVLT.tv website, or you can also watch us. Of course, if we have any warnings, we'll be on television as well. And there's where you can find me on social media. So be sure and like my Facebook page. Plenty of updates there. I've posted some tonight as well. And on the Weather Dad page there on Instagram, try to post some stories and post on the weather as well. So we'll be watching the weather. We'll keep you advised throughout the weekend. I'll have another update tomorrow evening around this time, so be sure and check back for that, and plenty of updates on timing. We may be adjusting the timing or intensity of the storms a little, so that's why you want to check back for plenty of updates. In the meantime, hope you have a great Thursday night, and be aware it's going to be a windy day on Friday. Temperatures near 80, so we're going to have a warm day. I'll be talking more about what's to come behind this in the 8-day forecast tonight on WVLT at 11 o'clock. Be sure and join me then. Have a great night.